What are Daniel Suarez's options for 2026? Some drivers got the first look at the NASCAR 25 video game, plus Legacy Motor Club wants a third car in 2026 or at the latest 2027. Welcome back to Break Hard. I'm Matt. NASCAR silly season, kind of quiet, kind of not really that much happening. Formula One silly season, it is about to pop off in a big way if Max Verstappen does, in fact, go to Mercedes. And nobody's denying the fact that both sides are talking to one another at this point. Obviously, the British Grand Prix is this upcoming weekend. And for George Russell, home race, you would think that, hey, if you're going to do a contract extension, this is probably the place to announce it at. And there's no announcement in place going forward. Mercedes is in a weird spot. Both of their drivers, they spent a ton of money developing, but when you have a four-time champ named Max Verstappen out there, you at least got to take a look at him, and he probably has an exit clause in his Red Bull contract as well, which Kimi Antonelli may have helped trigger that back at Austria last weekend. Either way, Formula One silly season, if anybody's into that, it has a really good chance of getting pretty exciting here over the next few weeks or month or so, as well as we head into their summer break in August. But speaking of silly season, let's talk about NASCAR's 2026 silly season, specifically around Daniel Suarez, who on Tuesday announced that he would not be returning to Trackhouse in 2026. The two sides mutually agreed to part ways, which I think we all knew was going to happen. He signed a one-year deal. The writing was on the wall. SVG has won this year. Ross Chastain has won this year. Connor Zilisch is having a really strong NASCAR Xfinity Series season, his rookie season at that. For Suarez, he was going to be the odd man out here more than likely, barring like having won 2 races already this season. So now Suarez is out. The question is, where does he go from here? Because when you look at it, there's not very many competitive NASCAR Cup Series rides currently available for the 2026 season. Everything at Hendrick is already booked up. Everything at Gibbs is booked up. Everything at Penske is booked up. Trackhouse has covered all their bases. RCR is locked in with their 2 drivers, if you want to consider them competitive. RFK, they're locked in with their 3 drivers. So you sit back and you're like, not really sure what his options are here. Now, there's been talk of Legacy wanting to expand to a 3rd team in 2026. We'll talk about that later in the video, but I would not expect Daniel Suarez to be in play there at all. On the Cup Series side of things, realistically, maybe the 10 car at Kaulig Racing, that could possibly be open for him. AJ Allmendinger already announced to be returning to that 16 car next year. Suarez does bring some sponsorship with him, and you look at him compared to Ty Dillon, he's at least a 2-time Cup Series race winner. Ty is not a Cup Series race winner, but Ty has had glimpses of speed at times this season. Maybe not the results to show for it, but there's been times where he's been surprisingly fast at some tracks. Is it worth a second year? Obviously, he brings a bit of funding with him, and he obviously has a close relationship with the team as well, considering his granddad is Richard Childress, and Kaulig Racing has very close ties with Richard Childress Racing, including being on campus up there in Welcome, North Carolina as well. So do they make a move from that? I'm not 100% sold that that's what's going to happen here, but if they are looking for an opportunity to get another Cup Series winner in there alongside of Adrian Allmendinger, then Daniel Suarez would be a perfect guy for that. Or does Daniel Suarez move down to the NASCAR Xfinity Series, a place where he is a champion at in 2016, and do a Elliott Sadler and kind of become the senior down there and start to clean up and win some races like we've seen Eric Almirola do over the last couple of seasons with Joe Gibbs Racing? I think that's not the worst idea out there. I think he can find enough budget to go to the Xfinity Series and get into a really competitive car. I mean, after all, it is expected that there's going to be a junior motorsports car open for 2026, right? With Connor Zilisch moving up to the Cup Series. And by all accounts, that's what's going to happen. Just need that to officially become official from Trackhouse. But for Daniel Suarez, he could go down there. He could win 5 races a year in the Xfinity Series and contend for a championship. And is that more enjoyable than running mid-pack in the NASCAR Cup Series? Obviously, drivers hate moving down, right? You never want to move down. It's like being in the majors and getting demoted back down to AAA, or being in professional football in the NFL and, well, I guess maybe playing in the UFL. Do people do that? Doesn't matter. You don't want to move down. You just never want to do that. And for him, I 100% understand it, right? It's taking a step back in your career. And it's unfortunate, but at the same time, you can make a really good living, but 2, a really good career out of this as well. And Daniel Suarez, the 2016 version that won the championship versus the 2025, now 2026 next season, Daniel Suarez, those are completely different drivers. I would say this version of Daniel Suarez that we have right now has much more confidence than that Daniel Suarez. I mean, heck, we just saw him get in the Xfinity car a couple weeks ago in Mexico, drive from last to first and win that race, something nobody in NASCAR history has ever done on a road course. So yeah, he very much has the confidence to get it done down in the Xfinity Series. It all comes down to just, do you want to take that demotion down or do you want to stay up? But for Suarez, options in the Cup Series are very limited, barring some wild things happening here, obviously, with the 2311 FRM lawsuit and the potential status of their charters, which we'll find out more on in a couple of weeks. But for now, with Suarez, his Cup options, as it stands, currently limited. The NASCAR 25 video game comes out sometime very soon, either the end of September or the beginning of October. They still have not announced a release date for that, which is unfortunate. I kind of hope that they do soon because everybody's getting excited for it. Obviously, it's coming out from iRacing Monster Games. They've done a phenomenal job with the World of Outlaw series. I have high hopes, along with everybody else has high hopes for this game. And this week, a couple of drivers got to get their hands on the video game and test it out a little bit. Ty Majeski, Sammy Smith, Noah Gragson, all went down to the studios, all got a glimpse of it, and all got to play the game as well, and they all walked away with nothing but positive things to say. Now, you would expect that, right? They were invited by the developers to come down, check out the game and everything like that, but, it is a nice thing to see all of them have their own positive things to say. Sammy Smith said, got to play NASCAR 25 from iRacing Team. It's the real deal. Feels great, looks great, and I really think it's going to get a lot of new people hooked on NASCAR. Kudos to everyone who worked on this. All right, we love to hear that. As long as it feels good, looks good, that's a big positive here. Noah Gragson said, just played new iRacing NASCAR video game. I got to say, impressed is an understatement. It's a true racing game with good physics. Haven't played a NASCAR game this good in 10 plus years. This game will revive NASCAR console gaming. I'm so hyped. Great work to everyone involved. And then somebody responded with, how much did you get paid to post this? And he responded with, nothing. I enjoy a good NASCAR game. See, that's the weird thing. Anytime you want to be positive about something, everybody's like, how much are you getting paid to do this? I say something positive about NASCAR, they're like, you're just a NASCAR shill. They're paying you. They're not. We haven't even discussed that, right? I mean, we shoot emails back and forth with each other all the time, and I'm always like, hey, you guys, you want to pay me? And they never respond to any of that, despite the nice things I say about them. None of that is true, by the way. Ty Majeski also got to look at it, and he said, did some shooting for NASCAR 25 game today, even got to rip a few laps, eyes emoji. You all are going to love it. Cool. I'm in favor of all of this. Let's make it happen. Let's have this game come out sooner rather than later. Is it going to be glitchy at first? Probably, because every game is glitchy at this point, just hopefully not like that Cyberpunk game. But if it comes out and it performs really well, that's all we're really asking for. Because I'll be honest, having a good console NASCAR game goes a long way to attracting casuals, but also I want that. I think everybody wants that, right? iRacing is fine. I see a ton of people being like, well, if you want to play NASCAR, just go play iRacing. Listen, I don't want to come up to my office, fire it up, wait for the lobby to open, do a race, probably get wrecked out in the first two laps because there's a bunch of mouth breathers on there that will just run into everyone, or geriatrics that won't shut up in the voice chat, and get frustrated with it. I just want to sit on my couch, run a couple races by myself, race against the computer, have some fun, build a little bit of a career mode, and then be done with it. I just want something casual. I don't want this big time commitment. I don't want to really have to think about setups going, super far. So for this, I'm excited about it. Yeah, let's get a release date out here. Let's get a gameplay trailer soon, hopefully. I'm going to Chicago this weekend. Maybe that'll be something I try to chase down while I'm there. Let's figure out when this is going to come out and when we're going to get our first real glimpse at it, other than some screenshots and some teaser stuff here and there. But regardless, I like to hear positive things coming out of it because, listen, nobody had anything positive to say about NASCAR Ignition before it came out. Like, drivers, nobody said anything, and that game just kind of dropped, and it was like, oh, this is a pile of garbage, in my opinion, because it was bad. I think I paid $10 for that game, and it was the worst $10 I've ever spent in my life. Jimmy Johnson was on his podcast. Yes, he has a podcast. He and Marty Smith have it with SiriusXM. Go listen to that as well. I believe it's called Never Settle. I think that's what it is. It doesn't really interest me to take a listen to it, but I do enjoy when clips come out of it and other people clip it. And Jimmy talked openly about Legacy Motor Club's desire to have a third charter for 2026, or at the latest 2027. Now, if you remember, LMC took on an investment from a wealth management fund, Nighthead, I believe that was the name of it, and they have money burning a hole in their pocket like a 7-year-old just got done with his first lemonade stand. Like, they are ready to spend money, and they want a third charter. And I see people in comments, because I posted this on TikTok on Tuesday night, that were like, You can't even win with 2 cars. You can't even run well with 2 cars. Why do you want a 3rd car? Well, okay, a couple of things here real quick. Over the last 2 months, those cars have gotten increasingly better. They are now top 10 contenders each and every week. They've definitely turned the corner here, and winning is kind of the next step in their process. At the same time, having 3 cars from an OEM standpoint is better than having 2 cars. So yeah, you want that. And from an equity standpoint as well, controlling 3 charters, again, is better than having 2 charters. So, because in theory, they're going to keep going up in value here. All right, we connected the dots on that one. So having that is good. And on his podcast, he talked openly about drivers that he's interested in, drivers he's impressed with. And when this story came up, back when they were trying to buy the Rick Ware Racing charter earlier this year, now, a couple of videos ago, talked about this when Rick Ware Racing sold for that rumored insane price. And in there, the judge ruled in favor of Rick Ware Racing. They have an injunction that allows them to keep their charter. They don't have to sell it to Legacy Motor Club. Litigation is still ongoing. Rick Ware Racing, in return, has countersued Legacy Motor Club. So all of that has to get sorted out. I would actually be shocked if Rick Ware Racing loses that second charter to Legacy. I believe it will likely stay over there based off of everything that we've seen, heard, read, all those things that go into that. But when they were looking to buy that 3rd charter, the name that kept coming up was Jesse Love. And obviously, Jesse Love is with Richard Childress Racing. RCR has not done a good job of keeping a hold of some of their talent in recent years. That being, well, they let Kevin Harvick leave, and then they let Tyler Reddick leave as well. And I think Reddick ultimately was never going to be a culture fit at RCR. And he even poked a little bit of fun in a recent 2311 video that they did about tweets. And now if they lose Jesse Love, that'd be hard for them. But at the same time, Jesse Love's not really tied to the manufacturer per se, right? He came up with Toyota and Venerini and ARCA, hopped over and took this Xfinity Series ride with RCR, and he certainly, from what I've heard, has some funds to help him get into a Cup car as well. And he's performed well, right? He's a multi-time race winner in the Xfinity Series. Should have won Rockingham, back in April, I guess it was. But that win got disqualified and went to Sammy Smith. But overall, he's a guy that has certainly climbed up the board. And a lot of people's draft chart, like, hey, who are we looking at here? Their big board. Mel Kiper out here looking at it, yelling at Todd. There's people that are interested in him. And then he also talked about Connor Zilisch. Listen, Connor Zilisch is not leaving Trackhouse. He has a Trackhouse deal. That development deal leads him to Cup. He's going to get there next year. And for him, it makes no sense to jump ship at this point. And I keep saying that Trackhouse is going to spend all this money developing Connor Zilisch to watch him win a Cup championship at a bigger team. And I still think that's what's going to happen here. For Legacy, they're trying to capture some young talent. No, it's not going to be Corey Heim. He has a deal with 2311 Racing that will eventually lead him to Cup, should it all work out, and depending on what their charter situation is as well. But for now, having Jesse Love in that car would make some sense. He's young, he's talented, he's a guy that team can build around for the future. And hey, you have a veteran in Eric Jones, you have John Hunter Nemechek, who has multiple seasons under his belt, and then you would have Jesse Love. That's a pretty formidable team for the most part there. And it's something that Legacy could definitely try to turn into something bigger. So I think that's the name that, everybody should probably keep an eye on should that happen. Obviously, Daniel Suarez's name is going to get tossed out there. Still don't really see that being a fit for him over there at this point. But I guess never say never. Just would be highly unlikely to see something like that happen. So for Jimmy, they have big plans over at Legacy Motor Club. Not only do they want a 3rd charter to grow in the Cup Series, they're also interested in joining, whether that be IndyCar or IMSA or another series. Legacy Motor Club wants to be a multi-seried team, kind of like we see with Chip Ganassi Racing or Team Penske, something like that. So all things to keep an eye on in the future. But for now, let me know in the comments what you think about what are Daniel Suarez's options for 2026, a NASCAR video game, and Legacy Motor Club potentially looking at a 3rd car for 26 or at the latest 27. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on TikTok at BreakHard, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at BreakHardBlog.